All right. Thank you for helping me with this video.
You bet.
Yeah. Hello, guys. I'd like to introduce you my best friend from Colorado, Steven.
Hey, hello, how are you? I really appreciate Alan. He does a good job with everything. He's made me feel very special.
Thank you. We don't have any script, so... Anyway, I like to tell my audience that you are my inspiration to start taking photos seriously. Before you, I like to take photos, but not in a sense like photography sense. Just I like to capture moment.
Snapshot.
More like information capturing purpose.
Sure.
I didn't know what to take in terms of composition standpoint. I just take everywhere.
Right?
Yeah. But once we had a road trip, you told me a few things. And then somehow that inspired me. I thought, wow, that is great view. So I like to tell my audience that what you did to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So what inspired you to take photos?
I think I really liked landscape especially. I think I do a really good job with landscape. I did some work with people, but I just found that really hard. So whenever I went to some place that was really beautiful, I wanted to try to capture it. Because as you know, it's hard to capture that feeling that you have when you're at that place. But I think I became pretty good at doing that because I would just try to feel it and then see it. And it worked pretty good for me.
Oh. Did you have someone that, just like you, for me, did you have someone who inspired you to take photos?
My father took photos.
Oh, okay.
He had like one of the oldest Nikon cameras ever. Not really, but he used to like to take pictures, and I watched him when I was little, and kind of inspired me. But he didn't really teach me anything. He wasn't a teacher type.
Okay.
So a lot of what I did, I just picked up. And I started with people, actually, to make some money at college, taking
like
pictures.
wedding?
No, like sorority and fraternity parties. Sorority and fraternities being special college group. And that was a way for me to make money, and it worked pretty good. The main rule was take as many canisters of film as possible, catch people in positions that might be embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then turn them in. So that was my first real experience on the professional side of photography.
Okay. In my case, after I got inspired by you, obviously I had to teach myself since we don't leave each other. Far away. So I searched on internet, like mainly YouTube. And I saw lots of professional photographers, their lessons and things like that. But in your time, you didn't have that resource.
No, we didn't even have computers.
Right, right.
No.
So what was your main teacher?
I think my main teacher was, I took 2 photography classes at college.
Oh.
And the professor in those classes was really excellent. Good teacher. Great eye, really good to explain, gave lots of examples. And so it was black and white photography, which obviously is a little bit more simple in some ways, but taught us very much the contrast, the depth of field, and then working in the dark room, which was part of the training. So that was good too, to get both sides of that experience.
Yeah.
And so I never really did much color at first, but I learned basic principles in black and white. Yeah.
Okay. So you took class from university, and then afterwards, what did you do? You have to get more like inspiration or class? Did you need more class to get better?
No, I never really got any education after that. I would talk to people who like to take pictures, which I think is a really great
Right.
way.
Uh-huh.
And I've always felt that the technical side is important, but being able to see, having a vision, is more important.
Right.
Because you can always get the technical, but you either kind of have the natural tendency
Right.
to see, or you have to teach yourself some way to see that's unique.
Right. Typically, from my own experience, I find technical side, once you get the hang of it, then you can understand it better. But when you begin to practice technical side first, then you are struggling more.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's pointless to begin with
Right.
technical side 1st.
I think as well, I've never been one to do a lot of portraits or taking pictures of people, which I think is really hard.
Right.
So I was always doing landscape or technical design type photographs, and they don't move usually unless you're doing sports,
Right.
but that's still people.
Right.
But so fixing the landscape, I found that easier. Yeah.
For me, I like to take street photography, but I find it really hard to take photos of people.
Yeah.
And then moved on to taking photos of people. Then when I try to take landscape now, I find it extremely difficult.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, somehow, because it's rather easy for me to take a good moment for me.
Yeah.
To take photo of any people, but
Right.
landscape, what's the best framing here? It's beautiful, but when I take photos, something is missing or too much,
Yeah.
so quite challenging for me.
Sure.
Any advice?
Wow, that's a great question. Somehow I found it always easy because I really like the outdoors.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for
Yeah,
a
I've
long
been doing
time.
that forever.
Yeah,
And I try to, like I said earlier, try to capture a moment because it's so hard. Two-dimensional, image is hard to capture. What was I feeling, when I was there? And so it's not necessarily about framing. And in my framing, I because I like, I don't like distraction.
right.
Like I was telling you, if there is a stick there in the picture that doesn't
Yeah.
look right, take it and get rid of it.
Right.
And I don't know if that's a good thing, but that's what I like to do.
Yeah, for landscape, make
yeah.
it as clean as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't like distracting things in my landscape, although there's plenty of landscape photographers that use distraction
Right.
in it to try to create maybe a more real environment. But I try to get the light right, make sure, everything in balance with itself. And then kind of, I don't know, I try to breathe it in and go, how does this feel? Can I see it in two dimensions?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you try to take as much scene as possible or make it as less as possible for the landscape standpoint?
I like to be able to see detail. So taking landscape far away, it's hard to enter into the photograph when you're looking at it. So sometimes when I do work, I'll take a full scale, large picture,
Right.
and then take segments and compare the segments,
Yeah.
and then go, well, I like it between this segment and there. So I segment what I'm taking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe last question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite gear and why did you pick that up?
My dad was a Nikon guy, so I think I just naturally moved to Nikon. And at that time, in the early 80s, Nikon was pretty much top of the heap.
Yeah.
And so my first camera was a Nikon FM, and I shot almost exclusively Kodachrome slide film. And I did that because I really liked the saturation that
Yeah.
you got.
Warm tone.
Warm. And I always found that with the warm, I could enter into the image better.
Yeah.
And plus, I had a projector, so you
Yes.
can make the pictures really huge,
Yeah.
and I really like it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I lied to you. That wasn't my last question.
Okay.
Here's my last
Well,
question.
I
too.
like to talk a lot, so.
Here's my last question. for my audience, whoever wants to take good landscape photography, would you like offer few advices to them?
Okay.
Yeah, to whoever doesn't have any professional photography experience.
Right.
Yeah.
I never tried to be expert. I tried to focus on what I liked, what caught
Right.
my eye, what was uniquely mine. I think sometimes we can either compare ourselves to others or we
Right.
try to act like others. But I think we have a very particular way to see things.
Right.
And so to be true, to do good landscape, I think you have to be true to yourself and true to the vision that you have. And as you said, not worry, you have to know the technical, but be more concerned with the subject.
Right.
Have personal relationship with the
Right.
subject. Yeah.
I believe I understand what you mean by that, but I believe whoever begins photography journey would have hard understanding about what that really means.
What that means?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to explain it better.
Oh, no. I mean, they wouldn't understand at the beginning, but when they have certain experience, then they may begin to understand better and better what you meant by that.
Right.
So,
I think
good.
eye for detail, and you don't necessarily get eye for detail like looking like this. And what I mean is get into nature. That I see this leaf is green and it's got scalped edges, and so I begin looking at the detail and let that detail affect me.
Yeah.
So both. It's not interesting to me as a picture, but
Right.
it gets me in touch with the landscape.
Right. Do you sometimes hear them talking to you?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
No, I do. You did not know that plants talk?
No.
They said, take my picture, please.
Okay. Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing your inspiring thoughts.
Okay.
And I really hope that this is happening in Korea. He's visiting. And again, thank you for taking your
welcome.
time to
Yeah.
visit me. It means a lot to me. I hope that I can visit you again in
Yeah.
the near future and make this kind of video again in Colorado.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Red Rock Mountain.
Yes. Mountain goats on the mountain peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye. See you next time.